Now, at least 3 people are injured after a shooting at the YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, California. This is according to police. The female attacker has died of self-inflicted injuries. RT Samir Khan has more.
San Bruno police have confirmed that 1 person has died. The police chief said that they were still investigating, but they found a woman dead with a, quote, self-inflicted wound that could definitely be the shooter. Now, the others were taken to nearby hospitals. San Francisco General Hospital said they received a few patients, and Stanford Medical Center also said they're expecting patients. Now, it is no longer being treated as an active shooter situation. Now, this all happened after gunshots were reported just outside of YouTube's headquarters in Northern California, San Bruno, California. It's just south of San Francisco. But armed police, SWAT vehicles, and helicopters quickly surrounded the facility, and the facility was under lockdown. Now, we don't know any more details about the shooter, but this all comes amid a national gun control debate. So we'll just have to see if this strengthens the argument for more gun control.
Well, for some analysis, we can now hear from former FBI agent Colleen Rowley. Thanks for being with us, Colleen, on this one. Kind of an interesting one, something that we're seeing more of, but this one is not kind of following the pattern. For one thing, it's a female. Authorities apparently do not believe this was an act of terrorism so far. All we know is that this was a lone female shooter who took her own life. How does this look to you in the grand scheme of things?
Well, the early speculation is that the female shooter was motivated for personal reasons. Maybe it was a love spat, etc. So it doesn't seem to be terrorism. But on the other hand, the motives of these very senseless, violent shootings, and this one doesn't even qualify as a mass shooting, because in order to qualify as a mass shooting, you have to kill 4 people or more. But still, and if a shooting like this had occurred in a place other than YouTube, it may not have even made national news. They are so common. I think the bigger question is not motive, but why are these on such a steep increase in the United States right now?
Now, you just kind of brought up a good point there about YouTube. We may not have even known about this. In Fresno, California, in Chicago, in many different places, shootings like this happen all the time. It is a multi-billion-dollar tech company owned by Google. Should we read anything into this target specifically, or is it too early to tell?
Well, if it was just a personal reason, a love spat, then YouTube was just, the location was not relevant at all. I should finish my thought about what really is relevant and what people should be asking is, why are these shootings suicidal, homicidal violence? And you have to understand, we're at the 50-year anniversary of the killing of Martin Luther King, who actually wisely cautioned that violence begets violence. And so in the United States, after 16 years of perpetual war, we are seeing this blowback in the terms of all kinds of different shootings. They can be, get a bad grade on a test, get a love situation, somebody with mentally challenged, but that doesn't explain why this is going up. And I think that we are in a situation now where violence, it's basically watching Martin Luther King's warning come true. If we continue to have this culture that encourages war and violence, we are going to see people believe that shooting somebody is the answer to their problems. YouTube specifically, the headquarters is supposed to be a gun-free zone. I want to kind of expand that to other gun-free zones in the United States. Is it surprising that an armed person apparently acting alone could get through the security perimeter? And taking it a step further down the rabbit hole, are gun-free zones the way to go? I don't think that, I think that there should be some common sense restrictions on gun ownership. And I think that might go a certain distance in helping, resolve some of these problems, and security could be beefed up at schools, etc. But it's not going to solve all it's not the full answer, because there are all kinds of public places, concerts, marathons, all kinds of public places where people gather. And when you have someone who is suicidal and who believes that shooting someone is the answer to their problems, and of course willing to take others with them. If they're suicidal, they're also homicidal. And so that's really the thing that has to be dealt with. There's lots of factors that are to blame here, but no one is even asking the right questions of why we're experiencing such a really steep increase in these mass shootings. The media sensationalizes these types of things and actually produces more copycat shootings.
Colleen Rowley, former FBI agent, when this happened, you were someone who I wanted to talk to help kind of get some of that common sense talk out there. Thanks for being with us here on RT International.